Welcome to Bill's Camp Day Recap. I'm Thad Brown along with Rachel Liebert here at St. John Fisher University. Day number 11 in the books. I'm keeping track this year. Already made it. Tomorrow's the last day. I don't even need to know what number it is. We know tomorrow's the last day. But today, Rachel, the Bills had another practice. James Cook was not there. We're going to just get that out of the way right away. Did not participate. Was not on the field. Right. There was no James Cook tracking through the porta potty needed today. He just wasn't there at all. Holden is continuing. No update at all there. As for the guys who were on the field, my overriding impression, my big takeaway from today was camp is usually about the bottom 20 guys on the roster. You know, the guys who are going to make the team, the guys who, might be good backups. This practice to me was the best one yet for the guys who are the top 30 on the roster. Josh Allen looked good. Keon Coleman had touchdowns. Dalton Kincaid scored a touchdown. Spencer Brown was out there, played well. Joey Bosa getting a lot of reps, played well, had a pressure. We'll get to him in a minute. Terrell Bernard was back. Josh Palmer was back and productive. There were so many things about this practice to where if you're a Bills fan, you're thinking, man, I hope this, and this happen. We saw almost all those thises today.
Yeah, this was the first time that we could watch this practice and be like, okay, like this actually feels like a glimpse of what we might see this season. And, like we've said, we've seen so many backups these last few days just because of injuries and everything. But you would like to think that, those final few days of camp should be those times where everybody is coming back and the team is starting to come together. And we definitely saw that today.
Start with Josh Allen, who, look, we have not seen a spectacular Josh Allen day. And sometimes, to be honest, really the spectacular quarterback play, you don't necessarily see it live. You got to go back to the film and be like, oh, wow, that linebacker was much more in the passing lane than I thought. But what we saw from Josh today was no terrible passes, no interceptions. Yeah. He was very clean. Couple good touchdown throws. There was a fade throw to Keon Coleman in the end zone where I thought Josh put the ball in a really, really good spot. So not an A++++ day for Josh Allen, but still a pretty good one.
And I think to be expected. I don't think we expected to see an A++++ day from Josh Allen.
They do happen.
They do happen.
It's Josh Allen, so he's always capable.
Josh Allen does have them, of course. But I think too, we did, like you said, he was putting the ball in all the right spots today, and it helps that he has those receivers out there that are going to be the guys that we do see on the field week 1, week 2, given that these injuries are, it kind of stays with where we are right now, where these injuries are at. But yeah, Josh Allen, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we expected him to have. He's been okay, like you said. He's had a decent few shows.
He is the MVP.
He is the MVP.
The bar has been raised for expectations.
But as we did say, this is for those guys fighting to make the roster to show out, and Josh Allen did show what Josh Allen can do today, and I think that was definitely cool to see.
They had it wasn't quite a 2-minute drill period, but it was an end of the game period that they reached the 2-minute drill, but they got to the 2-minute drill at like the 10-yard line, so time wasn't really a factor, where Allen had 3 consecutive passes to Josh Palmer. Now, before you go home look, Josh Palmer, he's dominating the offense. Only one I thought was actually scripted for him. One was on a scramble. The other one looked like a check down. But regardless, throw to Palmer is encouraging. And then that was the one that ended with the Keon Coleman, fade in the end zone. And then Coleman later on, scored another touchdown. And let's talk about Keon Coleman just for a sec here. Look, there were times when he got totally shadowed by a defensive back, whether it be Christian Benford or Trey White. There was another situation where it looked like he and Josh Allen clearly had a miscommunication because Josh threw a pass that might have been within 10 yards of Coleman at best. But multiple plays at the goal line. And the reason that, Rachel, I want to talk about the second one, after he has the fade touchdown against Christian Benford, against the Bills' best defensive back who's been playing great, he comes back against Benford man-on-man, and it looked like Benford overplayed the fade, thinking I'm not going to get beat on that again, and Keon just stepped inside for an easy score. Now, look, Benford might have been expecting help over the middle, who knows? But, Rachel, the fact that Keon is not necessarily stacking days, but stacking routes in the same practice, I think, was encouraging.
Yeah, for sure. We've had this conversation every single day.
Right.
The
We're
daily
both tired
Keon.
of it. Yeah, right.
I think everybody's tired of it. The daily Keon update. But today was a good update from Keon. We've been back and forth of, was it a good day? Was it a bad day? Today was a good day. He made the catches that I think we expect Keon to make. A lot of them were contested. And I was talking to Caleb about this the other day of when you see Keon Coleman, he makes the catches that you don't expect him to make a lot of the time. And then the ones where like, oh, he should catch that. Like maybe those are the ones that Keon Coleman isn't making. And I think today he had a good outing of made the catches he would expect to make, those when he was a little bit more open off his defender. And then he also made those contested catches today.
The thing will always be at this level, consistency. If I want to put together a 2-minute Twitter reel of Zach Wilson's best plays, I can make him look as good as Josh Allen. Same thing for Keon Coleman. His good stuff has been really good at camp, like you said. It's getting all the other stuff together as well. Same thing for Dalton Kincaid, who had a really nice 20-yard catch where he beat, I think it was Dane Jackson and Taylor Rapp, a group of guys. And then later in the same practice, crouch one-on-one him into the end zone and totally took him away. So with Keon and Kincaid, you saw multiple good plays, but consistency is more what you're looking for. Now, speaking of consistency, a guy the Bills have had who's been very consistent is Spencer Brown, and he got his first not full teamwork, but he played, 80-90% of the snaps today in practice.
Yeah, Spencer Brown being back, you can tell that Spencer Brown is back on that line. His presence is known when I'm watching him, and we did say that he was going against Landon Jackson, a rookie, a lot of the time, but he's a wall back there, and that's why Spencer Brown makes such a difference on this offensive line. And you can tell when he's not out there versus when he is, and it's good to see him back and not full go yet, but back in the swing of things going.
We spent a lot of time in camp talking about how the first team offense didn't move the ball great in some of those extended drives. Well, today, with Spencer Brown in, they went right down the field and scored.
Yeah.
Now, not the first time this year, but I had that thought watching. I'm like, why is the offense 79? Yeah. That might be the reason why.
And you can just tell when he's out there, he just makes his presence known. He's just so big and such a brick wall to Josh Allen that when he's out there, you're like, oh yeah, well that probably happened because Spencer Brown was doing something back there.
You're right. There is definitely a different feel to it. Let's flip over to the other side of the ball. We mentioned Joey Bosa early in this broadcast, and the thing that I want to say that I noticed today is not only was Bosa getting regular team work today, but he's getting work on first and second down. He was getting work in goal line situations where it was a likely run situation. This is a guy that we talked all season about. The only concern with him is injuries. Now, I might debate that. I think there's some discussion about whether his level of play at his age is starting to sag just a little. But injuries is the main thing. And the concern in camp was obviously, can he just survive? And yes, he's had a couple days where he hasn't been out there, but when he's out there, he's playing all the time. He's playing first and second, third down and looking good. You mentioned it was mostly Landon Jackson or younger guys against Spencer Brown. Well, one time it wasn't. Joey Bosa got a pressure with Spencer Brown in the game. So Joey Bosa having an impact, even on a practice, I think was very encouraging.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier, too. The fact that he is dealing with injuries and he's not 100%, but he's still getting all of those reps and still making a difference when we're seeing him out there and, going up against Spencer Brown or beating his matchups, that means something. When you're relying on a guy that hasn't been fully healthy, but we see him out there continuing to do what he needs to do, I feel like that's a big testament to just the type of impact he can have this year.
Not only was Joey Bosa an impact guy today, but you thought Greg Rousseau stood out a little bit as well.
Greg Rousseau stood out to me this whole camp. I've told you this before. There's something about watching Greg Rousseau just get off the ball, go to the offense. That's just so impressive to me, the way he moves, and he really just stuffs whatever's in front of him. That's what he did today, especially in the run game. To me, I noticed it a few times. He was definitely, the person that was kind of putting the pressure on the offense and stopping the run game. And, they did get a few of those. The run game did a little bit better today, maybe.
It was
but
okay.
It was okay. It wasn't
hasn't
great.
Been great in camp.
Yeah, hasn't been great in camp, but just, I think Greg Rousseau is one of those reasons that the run game hasn't been moving down the field.
Number 50 has always been very good against the run. And the thing that you point out about his confidence and his intentionality, the fact he knows what he wants to do, how to do it, how to go about, making plays, I think is where we've seen the most growth with him over the last year or so, and something that he comes into this camp now very comfortable knowing how to employ, doing the things he wants to do. The big story with the Bills really had nothing to do with anything that happened on the field, though it was a good day on the field. It was what happened on a lot of your TV screens last night, the debut of Hard Knocks. I liked it. You liked it. Just right off the bat, your initial impressions. You watch the hour, you turn it off, and you think, what?
Oh, it gets me so excited for football season. I'm sitting there smiling to myself. I actually watched it while I was in the office last night.
Wait, on company time?
And I was multitasking. It was a multitasking moment. We'll have to delete this section
for our bosses not to see. Go ahead.
It was a multitasking moment.
We
had two screens going. No, it was. I'm just sitting there. I'm so excited for football season. I think that was my major takeaway. There weren't any crazy storylines. It was kind of just what you would expect of, this is what the Buffalo Bills are about. And traditionally, Hard Knocks is those teams that are struggling, that we've seen in the past. But I mean, when you have a team that everyone's saying is Super Bowl contender, and last year, they had a nice playoff run, that's what you would expect to see from them.
You're right. With last year was the Bears, and they had the first overall pick, which means they were bad the year before. I know they traded up to that pick, but regardless, they were. When you have a team like the Bills, there isn't a whole lot of drama to dive into. So that episode was mostly, here are the things that make this team tick in a good way, and enjoy them. And the other part of it was, in terms of my reaction, you turn it off and you think, well, let's see, geez, if you told me 2 days ago, who do I think would be featured on a Bills Hard Knocks? I'm thinking probably Josh Allen, Deion Dawkins, and Trey White, and that's who it was. Yeah. So it was fun to watch. I tell you, I went into that show kind of looking at it as a chore, because I don't really get into sports documentaries now as much as I used to. And I was thinking, well, it's the Bills and I'm going to have to watch this. When that open hit, and the music and everything was put together so well, I paused it, went back, watched the open again, and then I was like you, I was fired up. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. Trey White came off great. It's been good to see him enjoy things so much. I was impressed with the way Christian Benford handled the Max Hairston injury in the moment, saying the prayer right there. He's a very spiritual guy, but seeing it happen, like, again, in the moment was impressive. So there are a lot of fun things about it. Today, we didn't talk so much about the big picture Hard Knocks discussion, but all the fun little things.
All the fun things, yeah.
Number one being the very not little thing that AJ Epinesa decided he would go hunting for in the offseason.
That crazy. I just can't even. When I'm watching that, I'm like, how does one get into this? And we asked him today, how does he get into this? And he just said,
this being catching an 11-foot python.
Catching the pythons in the Florida Everglades. I think he just went out, and that was like, he just decided he wanted to do this. There was no really lead up. It was just like, this seems cool. He reached out to somebody and was like, okay, let's go do it.
So I actually talked to him a little bit after you guys got done talking to him on camera. And what he said was the guy he worked with is someone who actually tries to take invasive species out of places like Florida, so that big python is not supposed to be there. So they go in and take them out. And he said the next thing he wants to do is work with getting iguanas and giant pigs out.
Giant pigs.
Maybe I might have the species of pig incorrect there, but iguanas and pigs.
Some type of pig.
Exactly. Are the next things he's going to go after. So yeah, I mean that was for me the wait what moment of the show was AJ Epinesa.
Yeah.
And then the other one that everybody wanted to talk about today was Scootergate.
Scootergate.
I just named it that, right?
That's good.
Like that Scootergate.
Scootergate, yeah.
And KJ Hamler being the one that apparently didn't get a scooter his size, but he had a good reason, right?
Scooter. Yeah, he said he didn't want to spend money on the electric scooters that everybody sees, athletes riding around everywhere. He went to Target, he bought it, I think he said it was $100, and that was good for him.
I ain't gonna lie, so behind the scooter, I went to Target, I seen $100 in electric, and I got the job. I thought that thing could fold open, and I thought it was gonna be a bigger scooter. I ain't feel like paying no $700 for no scooter. It's just respectful. So I went to Target. That mug said $100-some, and it was electric. I thought it could get me from A to B, but I guess it's a weight limit.
Oh gosh, I mean, looks like a Lego 6-year-old. I don't know. We need to fix that.
It's built to size. It's about. I mean, I didn't think it was gonna make it all the way through camp, and I think it made 3 days. So. It was a good laugh for everybody involved, though.
It dies going up the hill, so I got to push it up the hill and stuff like that. So I kind of take a break from it and just walk around. But I thought it would get me from A to B, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't need no Ferrari to go from A to B. Give me a little Honda Civic or something.
The first episode of Hard Knocks was super fun. If you haven't seen it, we're sorry we spilled half of it. We should have probably warned you before. Maybe reinsert
Everybody's seen it by now.
Spoiler warning.
They've seen it.
So really enjoyed it. Now, the thing is, though, the next one's going to have to, you would assume, deal with the James Cook situation. Yeah. We'll see how much fun that is. I'm sure it will be less fun.
Yeah.
But regardless, it was fun to see also from a Rochester point of view, the great shots of Pittsford, of St. John Fisher campus, of the city in general. Pittsford Dairy made it on.
I still haven't gone there.
Really?
I have not gone to Pittsford Dairy.
We might be doing that today.
We might have to.
Regardless, though, it was a heck of an episode, and I'm really excited to see more. Right now, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Rachel sat down with one of the Bills' rookie defenders in the defensive backfield. Really good story with Jordan Hancock. That's after a break on Bills Camp Day Recap. Back on Bills Camp Day Recap. Thad Brown along with Rachel Liebert. One more practice to go here at Fisher after today. Rachel, you got a chance to sit down with Jordan Hancock, a defensive back, a rookie who not only is learning how to be in the NFL, but he's doing it at a couple different positions.
Yeah, he's one of 3 corners that were taken in this year's draft, and he's been compared a lot to Cam Lewis on the team. And so I talked to him just about navigating, being a rookie and coming from, he was at Ohio State. They just won a national title, and just how he's, transitioned from, going and being at this big moment of his life to now being kind of the young guy in the room and trying to work his way back up.
Just over 6 months ago, Jordan Hancock was at the top of the college football world, winning a national championship at Ohio State.
Can't write it any better.
Now he's back at the bottom as a rookie in the Bills' cornerback room.
They coach me very hard. I try to get their trust every day.
Hancock was drafted in the 5th round and says there's actually a similarity to the Bills' defense and Ohio State's.
There's vets that's been in the same defense for 8 years, so it's basically the same at Ohio State. We had a lot of veteran guys, really just trying to soak everything in and become a sponge to their leadership.
Hancock is a versatile defensive back known for his ability to play multiple positions in the secondary. Well, that versatility means many spots could be his to fill this year, and when I asked him what
what he sees his role being, he said he actually has no idea.
I'm playing everywhere. I'm playing safety, nickel, corner, dime. I can plug in, play everywhere, just do the dirty work.
Defensive coordinator Bobby Babich said Hancock's skill set is similar to Cam Lewis. Lewis says he likes what he sees so far from the rookie, but still has some veteran advice.
He's fast. He has really good vision, good feel for the ball. Coming from college, just him being a little bit more urgent, he's at the pro level, so everything's happens a little faster. So just giving him the confidence. I'm just excited to see him play.
What a great example for a guy that has to do multiple things, right? Position versatility is going to add value to you. And so there's a perfect example sitting right next to Jordan Hancock.
When Hancock gets his first snap in the NFL, he says he's ready for the moment.
I feel like I'm built for those situations. I'm just doing my job every day, so I'm definitely happy to be here.
And Hancock added he's ready to leave it all out on the field in his rookie campaign.
Hancock today was again seen out with the first team, and that's been pretty consistent after all the injuries that have been happening. Cole Bishop obviously not playing in this practice. And look, Hancock has not been great. There were a couple times today where there was a touchdown pass and I looked up and I saw 37 with his head down today. But considering what he is being asked to do, playing nickel, playing corner, playing nickel and safety, I think especially considering the amount of first-team time he's gotten, he's done a pretty solid job.
Yeah, it seems like he has been in the mix a lot. And, when I talked to him, he said he's just trying to take in all of this information and learn all of these things. And, being in this position is difficult, but the transition's been easy, he said. So, I think it has to be a lot trying to take in all these things. Then you look at Cam Lewis as the guy that you're looking up to, and Cam Lewis has obviously been a great asset to this defense for, as long as Cam Lewis has been here. And so, you have to imagine it's lots of balance, but I do think he has been, kind of taking it well and doing it well. There has been moments he's missed some coverage, and I have seen him, the coaches get on him a little bit over on the defensive field back there. But as far as, the circumstances he's been given, I think he's been doing pretty well.
For a rookie as a fifth-round pick, I think there's an expectation that, Brandon Beane always gets great players in the fifth round, in the sixth round, the fourth round, and guys like that. And, your Taron Johnsons, your Matt Milanos. This one might take a little longer, and I think fans at home should realize that, not necessarily because he's any lesser a player, but because of what he's being asked to do. It's a lot more of a chore, a lot more of a lift than if you're just playing linebacker, if you're just, playing, nickel itself is a pretty busy job with what Taron Johnson did. So I think patience will be the word with Jordan Hancock, a guy who's going to probably be here, for quite a while. We've talked a little bit about the backup quarterback battle, if there is one, and I think today was a day where neither Mitch Trubisky or Mike White really distinguished themselves. White had an overthrow on a deep Christian Wilkerson ball that I thought a better quarterback should be making. But Joe Brady addressed the media today, and Rachel, he did kind of get into the backup quarterback battle a little bit.
Yeah, we've been talking about this, and just, we've seen Mike White have better days, we've seen Trubisky have better days, but we've ultimately kind of, between us said, Trubisky, we feel like is going to be that backup guy. Today, Joe Brady talked to the media, and he said it is still an open competition, and the only position really that is locked is obviously Josh Allen, and everybody else is still competing against each other. So that's what he said about his quarterbacks, and yeah, it's still an open competition, so we don't know who we're going to see.
Everything's a competition. I want the guys that, I want guys to go out there and take it, and I want the competition. I want the, and regardless, there's some positions that there might not be as much of competition, but if they have the mindset that they're good, they're not going to continue to improve. I want guys to push each other, and yeah, so there's a competition in the QB room just like there is in every other position group.
So of course, Joe Brady is going to say, the competition still exists. That's what every coach is going to say at this time of the year. I do really think, though, there is got to be some debate about which quarterback is better off as the number two. And this is not a nothing discussion. If you talk about who the second or third corner is, both those guys are going to be on the roster. Even if you're talking about the third or fourth linebacker, both those guys are going to be on the roster. With the second and third quarterback, the third quarterback likely ends up in the practice squad, which means, A, you have to go through the mechanism of releasing him to bring him back to the practice squad. So if you release Mitch Trubisky and put him out in the open market, somebody might grab him, to really make him, the number two. I mean, the same might go for Mike White, too. So there is that, and then there's a different pay scale, between being an active backup quarterback. Those guys still make millions, If you're a practice squad guy, yes, you can essentially make whatever you want, but you're not going to make anywhere close to that. So this is an important battle when it comes to the lives of Mitch Trubisky and Mike White, even if it isn't as big a deal when it comes to the future of the Buffalo Bills season.
Yeah, I mean, we don't hope that we have to see either of them out on the field. But, I mean, if it does come down to that, we've talked many times about Trubisky might be the guy you want to go for because just his experience-wise in the NFL. But like we said, I feel like Mike White, I can confidently say, has had maybe more consistent days here at camp. Obviously, Trubisky has made, we talked, Trubisky's the one that tends to make those better throws, and we see when, the highlight throws, yes. But Mike White has maybe been more consistent today. Like we said, it was really neither of them stood out. But I think it is important when it comes down to it because, the unofficial depth chart was released and Trubisky was that number 2, whether or not, that really means anything at this point. But, it's still kind of up in the air for what we'll see, but I still do think Trubisky will be in that number 2 spot.
It's a good point you bring up here with the depth chart being released. Generally, it's almost a PR move to push whatever guy you want to push. I think that might be a little bit of the situation where the Bills are kind of saying, if there's any doubt here, we still think Trubisky is our number 2, and then Mike White has to overtake him to take that job. Even if you and I and Caleb will sit here and watch practice and say, you know what, that 14's looking a little bit better right now.
Yeah.
So it's still a lot more preseason to go when it comes to determining that. We talked at the top of the show about how this might have been the best practice yet for the guys who are regulars on this team, the guys who are going to be mainstays when it comes to the regular season, but they weren't the only players who stood out. Yeah. So now we're going to recognize some of the other guys with our turkey burgers. Every single day we give an award out for players who either stood out over an entire practice or just for one play. Kind of like at Ohio State, you get Buckeyes, we get turkey burgers here at St. John Fisher. You have the ability to take the first turkey burger for today.
My first turkey burger is going to go to Dorian Strong. He's another rookie that we've talked about several times throughout the course of camp, just stepping up in those moments that he needs to prove himself, that he is one of these players that can be out there on the defense. And today he had a pick. I think it was off Buechel.
Yeah, Shane Buechel. Yeah.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah.
Got a pick off of him. Obviously, very nice play from him. And yeah, he's just been one of those rookies that we've seen, make the most of those moments when he can.
There are a lot of people who are very excited about what Dorian Strong could do as a 6th-round cornerback coming to this organization where they just build corners out of whatever. And, Strong seemed to have a lot of the individual attributes, size, the way his hips were able to, greasy enough to be able to stay with opposing receivers, that this might be a low-round pick that could really turn into something. It hasn't been ridiculously good. It's been okay. You've seen almost consistent flashes, but it's like, here's one play in this practice, one play in this practice. That was the one play today. And although it was in a lower depth chart unit, a second and third team unit with Shane Buechel, a quarterback, it was a very confident play. I mean, he knew where the ball was going. He stepped in front, probably would have taken it back for a touchdown. I'm with you. I was very impressed by him. My first turkey burger today, Keonta Jenkins, a guy who we have not talked about at all on this program. He was really good today. Every time I looked up, I saw 49 in the way of a pass, breaking up a pass. I mean, he was really good in coverage today. It's hard to imagine him being much of a factor on the team. And really, one thing we haven't talked about today at all is that Balin Spector is no longer on this team. The Bills waived him injured. He suffered an injury a couple days ago. Now, I'm a little surprised the Bills moved on from Spector already because this is a guy that has clearly been in their long-term plans for a while. I don't think they would just cut bait on him with the first bad thing that happened to him during a practice. But on the flip side, their depth is so concerning right now. They don't have, Sean McDermott talked about, they don't have guys who are even able to, put together, or enough guys to put together a normal practice. You can understand that, look, drastic times call for drastic measures with the roster. I do think Balin Spector will be on this practice squad or back at some point, but I was still a little surprised to see him go today.
Yeah, me too, for sure. When I saw that alert, I was kind of, like you said, it was a shock because, they don't have a lot of depth. And when they do, obviously, when he's injured, okay, you have to find the next guy up, and that's kind of the case here.
Give me your second turkey burger today.
Second turkey burger, we're going to the offense. And I'm realizing I think I gave him one 2 days ago, but Tyrell Shavers.
You're allowed.
We're going back to Tyrell Shavers.
He
keeps making plays, and he consistently has just been a guy that you can see being a depth piece in this wide receiver room. And he today, I don't think he scored any touchdowns today, but he had
a few. At the very end.
He did have one at the very end. He had a few other grabs today. And Joe Brady actually said this morning he can trust Tyrell Shavers when he's looking at the depth and looking at these guys that, aren't going to be on that first team. Who's going to step up? He said, I can trust Shavers. And that's huge because you need those guys in those moments when, okay, we've seen these injuries happen. We've seen, we haven't had a complete wide receiver room this entire camp, essentially. And so Shavers has been that guy to step up, and Joe Brady trusts him, and we can see that translating on the field.
To that point, Khalil Shakir was out at practice today with a boot on. He was riding the bike. He was doing other exercises, but he was in a walking boot with the high ankle sprain. Clearly a guy we won't be seeing back on the field for a while. Ironically, my other turkey burger is also going to be a receiver, Christian Wilkerson. Again, you know, the young guy just keeps making plays over and over and over. We're going to have more on him and one of the other young receivers, Stephen Gosnell, over at RochesterFirst.com if you want to check that story out later tonight. He made a grab on the goal line. It was a play where he was going against Braden Codrington.
Yep.
Codrington had really good physical coverage on him, and Wilkerson made a hands grab, kind of reached the ball over the goal line. Just a very strong, confident play. And, you know, for those who don't know, Wilkerson is not some undrafted rookie. This is a guy in his 5th year in the NFL, 6th year in the NFL. He's played for the Raiders. He's played for the Patriots. So he has some experience in this league. And I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing him stand out amongst the mainstay guys, because he has a good amount of experience.
You can definitely tell he's been here and he knows what's going on. He knows how he needs to step up, and he's been doing it.
Well, we've been here as well for 11 practices. We're going to be here for one more practice on Thursday, the final practice of Bills training camp for 2025. Right back here at St. John Fish, and then the Bills go to Orchard Park for the rest of the year. We leave you with some autographs from today after practice. Always fun for the fans and the players. For Rachel Liebert, I'm Thad Brown. Thanks for watching Bills Camp Day Recap. We will see you again tomorrow.